I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for participating in your city government. We'll start off with the mayor's report. First weekend in Oktoberfest of 2018 is in the books, and despite the weather, the crowds were generally very good. The JCs reported, actually they didn't report, but how was, we have one here, how was this, don't have the numbers?
I wasn't there.
Well, it was very crowded, I was there, and there were lots and lots of nice people. Met a couple firemen from West County, great people, and had a great time. Herman Trolley reported that Amtrak ridership is very heavy. We appreciate that. And overnight lodging did seem crowded. People relayed that information. Music venues were very popular, both Friday and Saturday nights. Moving on, Herman Trolley, again, seems to be a good barometer of city tourism and appears to be a leading indicator of later lodging tax reports. They monitor ridership of Amtrak very closely. On my Friday walk, I talked with several merchants and with Kevin, and several reported that September sales and bookings were the highest in their history. Hopefully, we're succeeding in developing other months in addition to May and October. One cause of the recent levels of urban tourism and record sales tax receipts is the near capacity of businesses located in the business areas. There are very few vacant shops. The city's made it a priority to fill these business locations and keep them filled, and that has happened. More tourists are likely to visit Herman if there are more things for them to do and they can get around. A significant number of shops, restaurants, museums, and events really helps bring tourists in and encourages them to return. The city of Herman has several big decisions to make regarding fiber optic communications, street replacement funding, and so forth. Though the aldermen try very hard to read public sentiment on these issues, accuracy is not easily attained. The most accurate way to assess public interest would be to ask the citizens themselves how they feel about an issue. And the only accurate way to do that would be a citizen survey. While at the recent MML conference, I attended a session featuring Dr. Mark Ellickson, who's the president of Opinion Research Specialist, located in Springfield. His firm specializes in finding and answering these types of questions for municipalities. I talked with him at length. The survey could be incorporated into our utility mailer and sent to every Herman household. We could determine the level of understanding of the proposed fiber optic communication and the support for it. This would be good because we could then go to lenders with some more accurate indication of support. We could determine how important street replacement is to our citizens and if they would be willing to support a tax increase to help pay for it. Other things could be measured as well, and we can incorporate those if we decide to do this. This, of course, is something that has to be discussed thoroughly. Volunteers are at work again last weekend on the caboose refurbishment project. On-site electric is now available, and they are preparing the roof for repair. Progress continues. I have no financial reports from utilities, tourism, or sales tax, so that report will be made next time. That's all I have to report. Mark?
I don't have anything, sir. I was gone for a week and I came back and just did not have time to put it together.
I would say one thing I thought you might cover, and that is that we were awarded a grant of, I believe, how much, 608?
Yeah, tentatively $608,000.
As much as that.
Yes.
And it covers the demolition of the medical clinic on 6th Street. And as far as the state's concerned, they've signed it, I've signed it, we have signed and endorsed copies, so that part of it's over with. There's still some details that Mark has to do, and the hospital, he and I in the hospital have to make a couple decisions, and then we can move forward. So that building will be coming down. That's the only one so far,
Yes, sir.
and that's all. Starting on the agenda, we have an ordinance to second read.
All right. Tonight on for second reading is bill number 2018-31, an ordinance authorizing reclassification of designated land and amendment of the zoning district map for application made by Terry and Peggy Hammer.
Is there any further discussion, or do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion is passed.
Next is bill number 2018-32 on for first reading, an ordinance to amend legal description and rezoning ordinance number 2101. And so previously, the city passed ordinance number 2101 to change the zoning for property at 406 West 18th Street to R3, multifamily residential. And Trish has been in contact with somebody at the title company who said that the more accurate legal description for that 406 West 18th Street property is what we have here in this ordinance tonight rather than what we had in the ordinance number 2101. So that's why we're considering this tonight.
And for everyone's edification, this is the property that Bart Tateman had rezoned 6 months or so ago to build apartments on.
The spelling count?
Yes.
Because you spelled the surveyor's last name wrong.
Klotz, K-L-O-T-T.
K-L-O-T-T.
Yeah, so that's it. All right. We'll fix that, and I guess it'll be on again next meeting for second reading.
Okay, well, we need a motion.
I move it first read.
Second.
Have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution, do you want to read that one?
We have resolution number 1258, a resolution authorizing the issuance of festival space permits for October.
If you would consider amending this to include Alpenhorn, who is also going to be, hopefully later on the agenda at the end of the meeting, this late submission for a festival application to have a bratwurst stand on Schiller Street on the property he owns there. So this would just be, he would need a corresponding vendor space permit. So if we could pass that with that amendment, please.
Any discussion?
So this one, is it food that people will eat there on the spot, or is it?
It's going to be in the courtyard of 200 Schiller, which is Junk Club Boutique. So it'll be in the, where his stand will be in the fenced-in area, and that's where he'll be serving people.
And then what about this other one? The first one?
It's a trip boil. I'm
That's
assuming
on-
they're going to eat it there.
They may.
Okay.
The gentleman was uncertain. He was kind of just the courier of that document. I asked him the same thing. He said they might have a couple picnic tables there for people to sit and eat if they do the shrimp boil.
Any more discussion? Any motions?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Any unfinished business? I would like to say one thing, I didn't put it in here. We do need, unless it's somewhere else, and I don't think it is, to discuss, a couple of aldermen have asked me to tonight discuss signs on utility poles. And I understand that at one time we just we approved them, or they just did it. Then we said no. They had to come and request that. Then we started putting them on poles again. Now we have people just put them up, and I guess I've got to ask, what's the ordinance? Dave, what does it say, and what do the aldermen want to do about this, if anything?
We don't have a specific ordinance, for instance, making it a violation to post something on a utility pole unless you want to tie it into some ordinance we may have about defacing or doing something to city property. But it's clearly, those poles are our property, and we can clearly prohibit posting notices or signs or anything on those if you want to.
Okay.
Or we could allow, in the nature of permission or a license agreement, say that somebody is allowed to do that. So I think it's more of a policy matter for what you would want to do. I see
Yeah.
Jesse here. I think I know what he would like for you to do.
Again, if you're gonna do something, let's do it and stick with it.
Can
So-
Jesse give us his thoughts?
Excuse me?
Can Jesse give
Sure,
us his
Jesse, come
thoughts?
on up. He was here a few months ago,
Well,
and he's back again.
as the liaison to landmarks, the historic people don't like those signs up there. We have businesses, they need signage. I understand Jesse's point of view on this, but if we're not going to let them put them on the poles, we're going to have to supply something, someplace for them to have signs up. I mean, a separate way of them being able to put directional signs up to their businesses. How we're going to do that, I don't know.
I also think it's important that we get our sign ordinance before the Board of Aldermen. And I've asked Dolores to bring it to the front burner and do something with it. I believe Dolores being the chairperson of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I think it's in her court. I believe it is. So we do have some homework to do on that. Jesse, you want to tell us your thoughts?
Basically, we'd been trying to get rid of them. I started here in 2004, and we had been trying to get rid of signs on poles from that point, and I don't know how far before. And it was going pretty well up until the last few years. And we're just kind of doing it through attrition. If we took a pole out, we didn't put, we took the signs off and threw them in the dumpster or whatever. And that was just kind of what we did. But now they're kind of coming back, and I just assume, if it was up to me, I'd get rid of every pole or every sign on every utility pole in town. I don't like them. Well, A, it's my workspace. And you guys probably wouldn't like it if I came into your workspace and strung wires everywhere. It's just not, it's not conducive to my job. If we have to run a cross arm up the pole, generally we use a hand line. So basically we got a rope running from top of the pole down to the bottom. We got a ground that runs that up to us, and the more he's got to fight trying to bring that up to us, the bigger pain it is on him. It's kind of a danger. If the rope snags, the arm could fall. If the arm falls, Bob's wearing an arm for a hat, and I don't want to come back down. It's a situation where when we have to take a pole out, I really don't want to be responsible for the signs. And when I first started here, it wasn't that big of a deal. Most of them were old, like plywood, hand-painted signs, but some of these are getting to be pretty elaborate, fancy, high-end signs, and I didn't get into the sign removing business. So I think there's places to advertise, whether it be on somebody's business or whether you go to another town and they'll have them on light poles, like the concrete light standards, or street sign poles, those type of things. Those are all great places to put advertising. Utility poles aren't. That's just my opinion. If we have to climb a pole, that's an even bigger pain. Trying to get around the signs now, especially with the constant locked-in practices that we have with OSHA. You have to be strapped into a pole all the time. So it isn't like when you used to be able to free climb, you could just kind of work your way around them and get up a pole and be done. Now you got to stop at every single sign, lock off, climb a little bit more, unlock, climb up, throw around the next one. Same with street signs. I don't like street signs on. It's just, in general, that's not where they belong. But
How often do you guys climb?
well, the last time I climbed was last Thursday, so often enough, I guess. It's a situation where, especially downtown,
It doesn't happen often, because usually we can find a parking spot for a truck. But if we can't, that's our option. And in a situation where if we have a truck breakdown or whatever, we're climbing. Outside of that, I mean, that's about it.
Well, thank you. Again, I'd say, whatever we decide, let's stick with it. I think, as Jesse said, we were on the way to having these signs, a lot of them gone, but now we're bringing them back. And I know that I got a call, and I bet other people did too, about somebody that just put a sign up without any permission. They just tacked it up. And so there's probably more than one of those in our city. But whatever we do, we ought to stick with it. Once we decide what we're going to do, let's do it. And not deviate back and forth on it. As far as us providing a place to put a sign, I would think a lot of these people could put it in their buildings or in their windows. Or we give them an opportunity to do another way, maybe on the sidewalk.
Well, most of the signs that you have on the poles are for businesses that are not visible on the main thoroughfare that people drive.
Direction.
And it's a
Directional
yeah.
sign.
Okay.
I mean, they do have them on their building, and that's great if everybody drives by and sees their building. But if they don't go up that street, then they don't see that.
Maybe something like Wings has the small blue sign there at Market and Fourth. It stands out, you can see it. Maybe we could do something like that for the businesses on each street.
Tom, you hang a lot of signs. Is there a standard size bracket for a certain size pole? I mean, like a 3-inch steel tube or anything like that, that almost any sign could be hung off of, or?
Not really. I think the ones that we put up basically were no larger than 18 by 24 on a bracket. And, you know, they look nice enough. The problem, I think, is, and it goes back to an application while I was an alderman, and I actually voted against putting signs on poles because of exactly the same problem. There's not really any good regulations that specify whatever you want to do. All they have to do is come before the board, and, you know, unfortunately, you guys are just pretty nice and put things through, but without specific requirements, if you choose to put them on telephone poles, I think everything ought to be standard and uniform if that's the case versus just being nailing stuff up. And I think that's part of what the sign ordinance, which hasn't ever been passed, needs to include if you choose to go forward to allow them to have signs on poles. You know, there could be a solution, other solution. We tried wayfinding signs. And some of these locations may need to have new corner wayfinding signs that could be mounted on the poles.
Well, if you put up like a steel pole, you're not going to want people drilling holes in it all the time. You got to have something that you can screw a bracket around. You know,
True.
If you get a new business, if a business goes out, you know, you can remove the sign easily, not.
But yeah, I warned people before that what's going to happen is they're going to start taking advantage. He's got one, I want one, why can't I have mine? And until you have some specifics, you know, it's hard to turn down.
Well, apparently now they're not even asking. They're
Well,
putting
and
them up.
that's always been the case. Yeah.
I'd say
Tom?
that's the vast majority, honestly.
Tom, you were on the committee that designed the sign ordinance.
Right.
Now, I know that's a couple of years ago. And do you remember if this is addressed in the new sign ordinance?
You know, I don't remember. Chris might know.
I have looked for it and I couldn't specifically find it. It only is very broad and it just says no signs on city property, which I guess would include the poles.
Right, and I think when we talked about it before, it was like those signs that were up and there before the ordinances, and they were grandfathered in, but nothing new.
They don't have to be.
Oh, well, I think that's what we decided.
So we have 13 signs that have gotten board approval. Just out of all the ones that are out there, 13 have come here.
I think I've seen half that many on one board.
And also, I think I mentioned to the mayor, after the agenda was posted late last week, I had someone come in from a business downtown requesting a sign to be put on a pole at the alley on Schiller Street. So they wanted to be on next time agenda.
Haven't I seen hanging signs they're like shaped like an arrow, and it has like 4 things down this street and 2 things down that street? Don't we have some of that here?
We do have.
We did it one time.
Sure, we do
And
have
those
wayfinding
look
signs.
pretty good, I thought. Better than having them tacked on. You know?
Right, and when we put those up, they were generic in nature because we wouldn't be able to put a whole laundry list of every
Right.
store. But at least if you looked up and you saw a restaurant this way, you knew there was one down there, or a museum or whatever. So, you know, we thought the wayfinding signs were good, and I know people come in the shop and have commented on using those, or seen those anyway. But you know, in order to keep the city clean, you know, I'll make as many as anybody wants, but, you know, I think it behooves the city to come up with a standard and make everything, you know, as clean as possible. And, you know, when you start tacking up stuff everywhere, then it gets pretty bad.
So let me see if I understand. We have approval for 13 signs, and we have other people that have put signs up without permission. Should we take them down or go to those people and tell them that they didn't request it, or what do you want to do? It's your call.
I think we should wait and see what Dolores' committee finds out and decides.
Well, okay. That's been going for a while, but hopefully we'll get that over here. I asked for it. Any other discussion of this?
That particular poll that the gentleman asked about for the next meeting, I looked at that today. It's pretty crowded. I don't know if we put another sign on that one because it has a snow route and has some other city stuff on it. So, I mean, that one's pretty crowded.
Now, we've had a complaint about one specific sign that I know in the last week that I believe, I'm pretty sure, was just tacked up there. What do we want to do about that? Leave it until we find out from...
Well, I don't think you should leave it because the ones that, what?
Want to take it down?
Well, they have a sign, if it's the sign I'm thinking of, because I saw it, it's not one sign, it's 2 signs. But I mean, it's right in front of the building, it's already got a sign on the building saying what the building is.
Right.
I mean, I looked at it and I thought, well, no, that didn't, I mean, that's in the historic district too, that did not come before landmarks.
But we don't have an ordinance.
But it didn't come to landmarks either, so...
I don't believe it has to go to landmarks with the city property.
Okay.
If we don't have a legal precedent to tell them to take it down, I don't know how.
And isn't some of the-
Legally, you could go tomorrow and take down every sign on every pole.
Okay.
Even the signs that we've given quote-unquote permission. You go to them and say, we're taking our permission away, we're taking off your sign.
That's
And
the
I-
answer I was looking for.
I think the city maybe can consider whether it's a proper city or a necessary city function. Is it the city's job to provide advertising space for businesses?
And whether we say yes or no, we should be asked first. So I would say take it down.
Okay, how do y'all, should we have a resolution to do this? Okay, just tell me what you want to do. We need-
Well, that's in their ward, and my cohort isn't here.
I don't think we should go over to signs. I think we need to get something in writing. We need to have an ordinance. Yes, we have a lot of signs now, and it looks like, I don't know, some big city where there's signs just everywhere. And I think we need to get something standardized. Everybody has the same size, everybody's the same, it shows where your business is, that street. But I think we need to let our committee come up with ideas and solutions to present to us.
Well, they've been working on it for years, and I think we're real close. But we have to have a meeting over there and have them send it from, I think it has to go to planning and zoning and come back again. It's already been to the state and they sent it back. So they're gonna have to talk it over and see if there's any modifications, then send it to us so we can talk about it and pass it, or not. But it has to come to the Board of Aldermen, and it has to go to P&Z first. So I asked her about it, I haven't heard back. So what do you want to do? Want to wait?
I want to wait.
Chris?
And I will take it upon myself to go and talk to Dolores, and I will talk to planning and zoning.
Yeah, I don't mind, I mean, it's been going on this long, I don't like waiting, it's gonna hurt, but,
And I think if somebody else wants to put a sign up at this point, they need to be told, well, it could come down, you could spend your money on a beautiful sign, and then an ordinance comes and changes everything. So maybe that person want to wait before they jump in with a sign.
I just, as long as Tom then worked on that ordinance and then nothing has progressed for as many years as it's gone, I just can't see that it's gonna happen in another month or so, I'm sorry. I mean, I know it's gotta go back and forth, but I'm just saying, I don't think it's gonna happen very rapidly, let's put it that way.
Point of information, that sign ordinance is now into the third administration.
Well, that's what I'm
Third
saying.
administration.
That's why I'm saying that.
Started that long
I
ago.
think he means presidential.
Anyway,
Oh, I agree, Bruce.
and
That's why.
I almost need to abstain because I'm one of them that have signs on the phone.
Troublemaker.
Well, no, but I got permission.
He's on the list. He's on the
Clarify
list.
Dolores' committee, what they're trying to find out
Well, I'll do
specifically.
that. Planning and zoning, it has the job of developing a sign ordinance, which we had a committee to come up with. And that's been done several years ago. The sign ordinance was decided, voted on, and I don't remember it got to us, but at some point it had to go to the state because it had a section on the historic district and some other things. So the state made a few changes, they looked it over and sent it back to us. Now it needs to go back to Dolores. She needs to make the changes. Dolores being the chairwoman of planning and zoning. They need to readdress it, see if they need, what changes they'd like to make, and then send it to us for final action. And as Bruce said, if it continues on the same speed that it has, we won't get it for years and years and years and years.
Let's not let that happen again.
Well, good. Let's go. Okay, so my understanding is we're going to wait and try and, okay, good. All right, we'll move on then, and we'll move to the proposed shuttle stop. Kevin, come on up. And Kevin Sanderlin with Herman Trolley has asked that we place a shuttle stop across from Wings Ablazing on the north side of 4th Street so that he can pull in without blocking traffic in the middle of the street. He can pull in, and it's basically at the entrance to that parking lot. I don't know who owns that lot, but he could just pull in, driver would stay in the trolley, and people could come across the street, get in or unload, and wouldn't require us to block off a bunch of spaces. Would be pretty in and out. Is that a fair representation?
That's fair. I measured it today. You've got a yellow line all the way to the back towards where the doctor's office is at, and we need to go almost to the tree, and that's 50 foot. But we're only losing about 1 car parking spot. What it enables the sign that we have, the shuttle stop down on 4th Street, the one next to Trappers, we gotta get rid of that. That's a hazard. Okay, these trolleys are sitting there, they're in front when we pull up to pick people up. Guess what happens? People walk by, they walk in front, they can't see cars that are coming around us. That one's bad, very dangerous. I don't know if the chief's seen it, but it's very bad. We've seen it from the seat. I would prefer we come in 5th Street if we got people at those 4 restaurants. We'll come up Schiller, take a left, we'll go, we'll park, we'll load, and then we'll go up 1st Street and go on out. If we're coming back, we can do that also. We can go up, we can take a left or take a right and go up 1st Street and then on out 100, or we can take a left and go on out towards south on 19. So that would be the way we would change how we run our route if we got that spot. You know, so we don't have to have people meet us there and we can't pull over. We can't stop, you know.
So we could take the one out across by Trappers.
It needs to be taken out or
What-
somebody's going to get hurt.
What do you say? You drive.
Basically the same way Kevin said, you know, it's a dangerous spot. You know, especially if you drop off and they come walking around in front of the trolley right there on the walk. You know, when we drop somebody off there, we tell them to be careful when they walk around in front of the trolley, so that, you know, make sure there's no cars coming or anything. 'Cause it is a bad spot.
Jim, what's your last name?
Well,
My thoughts are 5 minutes. That's what our parking spots are anyway. You're there
Right.
5 minutes and you're gone. We can be there 5 minutes. We get out of our trolley, but we can be there 5 minutes and gone.
And if somebody had to get in or out
They're
of
gonna
that
have to
parking
wait.
lot,
They're going to have to wait. Okay, I'm being honest with you. It's a 5 minute. They would have to wait if we pulled in there to unload, or we pulled in there and there was 15 people standing there. Nobody could get in anyway. They'd have to go on down. These people aren't going to run out of their way. Okay, if we're there, they're going to load on. We're going to leave. We'll either go First Street North or First Street South. I mean,
That's a city lot.
yes.
That's our lot.
It is our lot?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
then
didn't know.
it ain't a problem.
that's, I know.
Because I always put a work order for the weeds to the city.
So,
Bruce.
just a sec, could you pull into that lot, or would that be?
No, ma'am.
How come?
We can't turn around. We'd have to back
Oh,
out.
because
That'd
of
be
the
work.
alley.
Right.
That alley gets pretty tight at that upper end.
Can't
right
back
there.
around.
I didn't know that. That's.
I don't have a problem with it. You know, the trolley stops are great. I don't have a problem, you know, if you go by state law with these buses and trolleys and so forth, you know, like on First Street, there's no cars parked there. It's not a problem for him to pull over. That's not illegal. As long as they're not impeding traffic. Over the years, I've been behind them where they're not doing what they're going to do, and I go to him and I try to talk to him, not very nicely. And you know, I see it with my eyes, it's not hearsay. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, as long as they're not impeding traffic and doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, I don't have a problem where they pull over personally.
Well, we'll
That's
have,
how I feel. You know,
we'll
so
have to
I'm
change
in
the
favor of
ordinance,
it.
because the ordinance says they can only stop from loading and unloading where there's a sign. And I don't care if we
All we gotta
change
do is
it.
move the sign in, right?
Well, have all the streets one big sign.
I have a
He
question.
just rides the guy with him and Hank jumps out with the sign.
Throw something else in the mix here. 4th Street, that is a street. Is there any, I don't know the law, handicap parking along that street? You have a lot of older people going in that doctor's
We got one
office.
down
You
by,
have people
one
going-
spot right by the hotel, right by the,
There's one spot there by those restaurants, it's up. We need some spaces there. That's been a problem there for probably, I
well,
don't know, 10
didn't
years.
Dr. Allen request one at one time? In front of her building?
I'm not telling you.
I thought she did.
She did, I don't recall.
I know the Fitness Source at one time had talked about it because we have a lot of elderly people that came in when the gym was downtown.
Maybe
It's
that's
not
what I'm thinking
anymore.
what about
But
the city lot?
That's where I'd put it. I'd put
Don't
a
we have one there?
sign
I thought we did have.
in the city lot.
But that's, to be blunt, that's not the best lot. It's uneven, when it rains, it's full of puddles, and you have older people walking.
Yeah.
I actually like this spot. I thought this was a good spot when we first discussed this, because it gives them an opportunity to get a little bit further, tire over. When you've got that curve, when you're cut in, you can only go till you hit the curve and then go forward and your ass end sticks up. With that cutout for that driveway, they can actually roll that tire up in that driveway and they'll be a lot further over off the street. But we do have one problem there. Our yellow curves are getting pretty faded around town. I mean, if we're gonna do this, we need it marked clearly that nobody's supposed to be parked there, because one car out of place, and they're not gonna have room to get out of the way.
And weren't we supposed to mark those spaces off on 4th
As
Street?
soon as we get something back from the engineer.
Are there any
So maybe do
handicap
that.
spots
Sure.
marked off for that?
I'm sorry?
Are there any handicap spots marked off?
Not at the present time, that I'm aware of. We have to designate those. Is this gonna be just on Saturdays?
Yeah, I can live with just Saturdays. We get older folks that do eat at Wings of Blazing, and the one right next to it, the Harvest Table, is really doing a good job. And I can admit, he's seen me. We have stopped there to let them out. There's just, and the handicap, if it would work in that parking lot, I don't want to say you, I wouldn't get rid of a parking spot for handicap because it's not going to be used as much and it's going to be a vacant spot and probably give the police a fit, you know, on 4th Street, especially on a busy day and a busy night.
Here anytime.
Right.
Bruce, to address your comment, which I think is a really good one. I don't think Kevin and I have been talking about this for a couple of months, and I think that where he parks and our other trolleys and others, most places are not booked up, overcrowded for traffic, so it doesn't matter. But we do have to change our ordinance, which we can do. So we're kind of trying to get the whole package together and bring it to you, and that's one thing we've talked about. And maybe making some relaxed areas on Market Street where they can park, because that seems to be a problem too. That street seems to be a problem because people back out. And anytime there's a big crowd like Oktoberfest, it's dangerous driving through town anyway, much less if you have a big vehicle like this, because people come from between cars, they pop out, they open the car door at the last minute, they jump off the curb, they don't cross at crosswalks, and that's just gonna happen. So maybe that's a good idea. That's something we might need to look at.
We might need to look at too, if the city has any property in the downtown area where we could put a parking lot and people could park there and get picked up.
Yeah, I think that is part of the whole discussion. We do have maybe something.
Done?
Yeah, great, thanks, Kevin. We're really talking about one spot. So what do y'all want to do?
I will make a motion
I had a question. Are you gonna then put a crosswalk in the middle of the street? Because you're talking danger, and what you're doing is getting out of the bus, going around the front, and walking into the traffic. I didn't know if you're gonna put do you need a crosswalk? Is that something legal or not legal? We can cross the middle of the street?
Determine exactly where we want that crosswalk, we should put one in.
That's a good idea.
I think it's a damn good idea.
Yes, it is.
And there's not much light on that street at night either. People walking back and forth across lanes, you can't see some people sometimes.
It's a busy street, so a crosswalk, that would give us one on each end and one in the middle. That might be good. So I think we have a motion.
I move to approve.
Can I get some clarification? So, this is only for Saturdays, and we're not actually marking it with a sign for a trolley stop. It's just really the entrance of the parking lot plus a little space on both ends.
I think
There's
there's a
yellow
sign.
paint.
Aren't we?
Do we need a sign or just the yellow paint will work on the curb?
I think it's,
Oh, we move the sign from the end of the block.
Yeah, we got the sign.
right, we got the sign on the end of 4th Street, we can bring it up, yes. I think a sign would be best.
Can we
And
say
I can take it-
Saturday only?
And I can take it down, I can put it up every Saturday morning when I go to work. Take it down every Saturday night.
Or
I
can
mean,
we get a
don't need
little,
it
Can I get that in
every day.
writing?
can we get a little?
You can still be marked yellow.
You don't have any traffic to go to them restaurants on Sunday?
Not like this, not like Saturday. I would love to have it for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but.
Well, if there's not gonna be anybody else parking there anyway, Kevin, what would it hurt?
Well,
I'm
the
just saying.
signs down, you still can't park in the yellow lines that you
Yeah,
put in.
you can still stop and drop people off, pick them up as long as you don't park there. You know?
I just don't understand why you're restricting it to Saturday.
Yeah,
That's what
the
I'm
Saturday
saying.
just seems.
He's trying to get the best for the weekend.
He just wants to be nice.
No, well, that's fine.
He's being nice, don't, yeah.
And I think it would be confusing if it was just Saturdays only. What
Right.
about the rest of the week? What if you wanted to stop there another day? Or
Okay.
Well,
just
this is
something
not,
else?
this is a shuttle stop. This is not just for Kevin.
Right.
Anybody else can use it
Right.
also.
Right.
But
So
if you
let's
do it
move the
Saturdays only,
Well,
that limit, I don't understand the Saturday.
No, I say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Let's move the sign.
Either way, it's gonna be yellow. I don't, what
Yeah.
difference does the day make? It just,
Yeah,
should
yeah.
just be a
Let's just
shuttle
move the
stop.
sign and paint it yellow. Okay? Bruce? Move the sign and paint it yellow.
I'm all in favor. Second if you need a second.
All right, Trish, paint it yellow, move the sign, and we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any other new business?
Yeah, I have something, I guess this is gonna fall under new business. It's actually about one of our ordinances, I guess. We have an ordinance on parking in residential, and my neighbor down the street has been parking on that street for 30 years with a grain truck in the harvest time. He comes in the evening, parks it, and leaves in the morning. And according to the ordinance, he's not allowed to do that unless somebody has complained. I'm reading this ordinance, and by reading this, somebody that has a business that works out of their home, maybe not have a driveway in the back or something, lawn business or whatever, construction business with a trailer, can't park in front of their own place. I would like to see this ordinance amended where maybe they have a 12-hour allowed time to park or something. According to this, you know, a guy comes home for lunch or something and there's been a complaint, like this particular individual's had a complaint, he can get a ticket. And he's only going to be there an hour. I don't think that's right. I mean, and the other thing it says in here is that, you know, they can get a permit for $5 from the city administrator, but it doesn't say if the permit is for a day, a year, or whatever. So there's no clarification of what that permit is. So in other words, the individual, if he came out for a permit, I kind of dumped it on the administrator today, I don't know. So I mean, I think this needs to be addressed.
So the question
I mean,
is about the permit, and you'd like to...
Well, I don't think it happens that often, but there are people in town that work for different companies or have their own businesses that you know, and like I say, they're not there for a week or two. Now, when somebody's doing construction and there's a construction trailer from a company, is that, you know, according to that, they can't park there neither.
What if you have an 18-wheeler?
Well, we know that's not acceptable. I mean, but I'm just saying I got to thinking about, you know, what happens to somebody that has a guest house and somebody makes arrangements and they come in a U-Haul. The police know they're only there for one night, but technically they're there. That's illegal. You know what I'm saying?
Are we giving a lot of tickets for this?
No. I don't think they are. It's just that it's been brought up, and I think being it's been brought up to me, and it's thought, well, I think...
Well, let me ask you this. Why is the guy parking there?
What do you mean, why is he parking there? He lives there.
It's his truck.
It's a truck he's working, well...
It's a company truck.
It's a company truck.
He only drives it during the harvest season, which is a very short time period, and during that time period when he is not at home asleep, he's out driving that truck delivering grain.
And he's been doing it for 30, he's been parking it there for 30 years.
For 30 years, we've not had a problem.
Now there's a complaint, so that's a problem. You know,
But I'm not sure if we've had it right for 30 years. Do we need to change the ordinance?
Well, the ordinance has only been from 2004, I think. So, I mean, the ordinance hasn't been in effect. He's just been driving and doing that for 30 years. And it's
my suggestion is that we fix this one. Maybe we talk about it, but to change an ordinance because of one complaint in 30 years. That's kind of, we don't know what's going to happen once we change the ordinance. Apparently it's working pretty good because we haven't had any other complaints. So isn't there some other way we can...
I think that was the purpose for section C, because it says no person shall park in any street, any farm equipment, boat trailers, camping trailers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it says, however, the city administrator could, in their discretion, issue a temporary permit for parking prohibited vehicles in residential areas, subject to time limitations and other terms provided in the permit. And I think at the time in 2004, it was intended to not just be for 24 hours or for a week or whatever, because it's been a long time ago, but I think the board was like, what if you do have to park something there for a week or a night or 2 weeks, or from, you know, the time you get off work at 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. for the month of October because it's harvest season or whatever. that the city could work with people like that.
So you're saying that Mark could issue a permit and he can fill in the details, and if a guy needs it for 2 weeks or a week or during harvest season or for a night, he can put that in there and that can satisfy.
Then they're legal.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's
That
what
sounds like reasonable.
if that's what that, I didn't read it that way,
Okay, can we do that?
but,
Okay.
that sounds, okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Good point. Motions. What do we want to do with our minutes?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Invoices for payments.
Make a motion to pay the bill.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Conditional use permit, Charles and Kathy Durham, unoccupied guest house at 129 West 3rd Street. Is Charles here tonight?
I have,
Oh,
No, Tom's here.
oh, like Tom.
I'm here, you represent Charles.
Do we have discussion on this?
I will move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Conditional use permit renewal. Arminius Holdings LLC, doing business as Herman 1837. Outdoor liquor consumption at 403 South Market Street.
Chief, any problems there?
No.
Didn't think so. Move to approve.
You're gonna fence around it?
It does have a fence.
It's a nice little outdoor drinking area.
Is that the bonfire area?
Yeah.
Patio.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Ratify purchase agreement with Electric Controls Company for SCADA equipment. Would you explain SCADA?
SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. It's the monitoring system we have at our lift stations, our well houses, our standpipe, our other tanks, and our substations for electric that's monitored at the dispatch center 24/7 for any kind of outages or problems that may occur. This system went in, I believe, in '04. We just updated the computer from XP, and it turns out now, of course, like anything else electronic, all the equipment we've had since '04 has been replaced with newer, better equipment. And this equipment is no longer, it's sort of handled by Motorola, but they're phasing it out. It's going to be very hard to get new equipment, so this is our chance to improve, get us up to snuff, and this cost is shared with the utilities, so not one department is taking care of all of it.
And we budgeted this.
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion of this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Approve reappointment of Ken Kusman and the appointment of John Hill to the Board of Adjustment.
says Thomas.
Yeah, it's been changed. That was just a mistake. Sorry.
My mistake.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Approve destruction of records in accordance with Secretary of State's retention schedule, and I believe, in talking with Trish, most of these, if not all of them, are police records.
That's correct, and they actually have to have them physically burned and taken to a site where there's a legal observer, so it's all done on commercial.
Any discussion of that? Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Caterers permit, Hermanoff Incorporated, at Herman Farm Distillery, 2206 Highway 100, October 13, 20, and 27, 2018.
I don't have a problem with this, but I do have a question about it. They're running a distillery down there. Why don't they get a full-time liquor license?
Well, I can't answer that, but this is so that they can serve their other products there.
Oh, okay. Just curious. I'll move to approve. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Festival event application, Midmo Seafood, LLC, Shrimp Broil and Frozen Food Sales, 118 West 6th Street parking lot, October 13, 20, 27, 2018. I believe this is the old IGA store.
Didn't we do that earlier?
That was the vendor permit resolution. This is the corresponding festival license. They want to do it on the parking lot there.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded on this side. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Special event application, Herman Area District Hospital, Turkey Trot 5K Walk and Run, various street and sidewalks on the west side of town, November 22nd, 2018.
I will move to approve.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
How many years have you been doing this?
I believe this is 10. I haven't had time to look. Yeah, 10 years. And it goes
Okay.
through weekends.
I'm sorry.
We have,
Mayor Gerber, could we add the loose one on your desk, the Alpenhorn one?
Yeah, I was
that
gonna say-
mentioned
all
earlier?
right, okay, so that has to be added to the,
Yes.
which one, I?
It would be K.
Okay, so it'll be a K.
And it's Alpenhorn Guest House wanting to serve food at 200 Schiller Street on private property for October 19th, 20th, and 21st,
Which they own.
which they own.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve that?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. I don't think there's any citizens' comments. We have no forms here. There being no reports or anything of that nature, we're going to move to go into closed session. Do I have a motion for that?
I will go into closed session for the purpose of dealing with matters relating to legal action, cause of action, litigation, or privileged communication between the city's representatives and its attorneys.
I need a vote.
Aye.
I didn't get a second on the motion.
Second.
I need a motion. Seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, the vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, the ayes have it. We're in closed session. Thank you.
That's getting up like 8 over the freaking park.